Today I'd like to highlight problem and solution. Not only because I have a lot of problems, but we won't go into that right now, but the fact is that everyone has problems, everyone has challenges, and everyone's looking for a solution. So as a business owner or manager, what you need to be doing is recognizing that, and no matter what your product or service is, you need to highlight that it's going to fix someone's problem, and that someone, of course, is your target audience. We're not much interested in features these days. We're running so fast in this world that we live in. If you're like me, you probably wish you weren't running so fast, but the fact is that we are, because we want to pay for the 3 motor cars and the 3 plasma TVs, and we want to pay for the new lounge suite and the 2 refrigerators, not one like when we grew up as kids, and maybe we want to pay for the investment property. So whatever it is that we're paying out, we need to earn money and we need to run really fast. And because we're running fast, all of us, chances are that we're not that interested in features as much as we're interested in benefits. So no matter what your product or service is, make sure that you don't get caught up in highlighting just the features. I'm not saying that once we've decided to buy your product or service, we're not interested in looking at the small print and finding out what the features are, but that's not going to get our attention in the first place. You see, Panadol and Nurofen all those years ago, the headache tablets, they used to come on television and the box would run forward or towards the camera and they'd say, we've got paracetamol, we've got codeine, we've got this, that and the other drugs inside our tablets. Guess what? We weren't interested. And if we were way back then, X number of years ago, we certainly aren't now. The advertisement that works now for Nurofen would be showing a lady coming home from work and she's rubbing her forehead, she's got a headache, the kids are screaming, and she goes for the Panadol box, she takes the tablet, gets a glass of water, drinks the water, and there's a little clock in the top right hand corner of the screen and it goes tick, 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 and up goes 10 minutes, and all of a sudden the camera comes back onto her and she's got blush and she's got lippy and she's looking so much prettier and healthier because her headache is gone. And guess what? The little ratbag kids who were running around the house after school are now well behaved doing the homework at the kitchen table. So it even fixes the kids. Now you know what I mean, okay? I'm talking about problem solution. And in the problem solution scenario, there's a number of things that I want to go through with you that you need to take into consideration. Now I have a whole bunch of samples here that I'm going to actually go through, press advertisements and brochure advertisements, and I will be talking about the online execution of these things. But I do want to highlight to you something that's really important with the problem solution scenario, and that is the execution of it needs to be in keeping with your brand persona. You see, if you are the Palazzo Versace Hotel, on the Gold Coast, then you have a 7-star resort brand persona. And so therefore, when you are communicating the problem and the solution, you want to make sure that the communications are at that David Jones, Palazzo Versace, BMW, Hilton Hotel level, okay? So therefore you can't have a brochure going out looking something like that, for example, if you're the Palazzo Versace, okay? Now that's nothing to do with Palazzo Versace, this happens to be a real estate pamphlet, but what I'm saying is that you need to make sure that when you are communicating to your audience, who presumably, if it's the Palazzo Versace and you're, charging $600 or $700 a night for a room, or maybe more, then you're talking to probably people who have got a few dollars, and they're not going to read a crappy little leaflet like that Bi-Lo supermarket might put out. So when you say, look, your problem is that perhaps you live in Sydney and or Melbourne in the winter time and it's a bit cold there, why don't you come up to a 7-star resort on the Gold Coast and you show the beautiful marble floor and the beautiful, sort of rooms, and you see the big gigantic pool the size of Africa, and everybody, of course, in those advertisements that the Versace has is beautiful. They're all beautiful people. It's funny, I don't know what it is, but I think Versace must have a ruling that if you're ugly, you can't stay there. I've never seen any ugly person in the Palazzo Versace. But you know what I mean. The point is that they're positioning their problem, as in you're in a southern state and maybe it's winter and you're cold, with the solution, why not come to warmer weather on the Gold Coast and stay in opulence at the Palazzo Versace? It has to be communicated in a way which is conducive and complementary to their brand persona. They can't do it like that. Okay, and what I want to do before I start showing you some samples, because I know that the feedback that we've had is that you guys really would like to see me pick up my pen and sketch out some layouts for web pages and perhaps for brochures and for print advertisements, or maybe give you the idea of what a storyboard might look like for a television commercial, or what a script might look like for a radio commercial, rather than me just preaching to you. So what I've done is that I've collected a whole bunch of things here, and I'm going to go through a number of them and show you just how they're not wow factor, they're woe factor. They haven't gone down the problem solution path, and if they have gone down the problem solution path, then they've done it the wrong way. And the reason I think you probably enjoy that more than me just preaching is that you're actually seeing live execution of this stuff, and I can show you what they did wrong and how I would have done it, okay, and how I recommend you do it. I think really what I should do at this point, though, before I start getting my little magic pen out and doing drawings and what have you, is to point out to you that there are 5 components when it comes to the problem solution scenario. And if you've got one of these handy, a pen, I would suggest you might like to even write this down. Gosh, I'm sounding like a seminar speaker. Don't be surprised in a moment if I go, yes or yes, and I'll ask you to put your hand up, not that I will ever see it, of course. Or don't be surprised if I say, and it's only available today, run to the back of the room, and it's only for the first 7, and we've only got 6 minutes for you to race to the back of the room and give me your credit card. Okay. I can't help but fall into seminar mode because I think you probably know what I think about the seminar industry. Really weird that I'm in the business of attracting people to events. We tend to call them events, not seminars, because that has a certain stigma attached to it. But yeah, I've been to a whole bunch of them when they try and, highlight to you that you've got lots of problems, sometimes more problems than what you really have, and that you can get those problems fixed if you just run down the back of the room and give us your credit card. Okay. The 5 components that you need in your problem solution scenario are: number 1, you've got to highlight to your prospect what their problem is. Number 2, you've got to aggravate that problem. In other words, highlight to them that if they don't do much about it, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Number 3, provide them with the solution. Number 4, provide them with proof that your solution can work, and that's normally a testimonial or 2 testimonials or more. And number 5, a strong offer or call to action. So problem, aggravate problem, solution, provide proof, and then have a strong call to action. Now, to give you an example of that, let me run through what Jenny Craig would do, and does very successfully. Number 1, Jenny Craig says, are you overweight? Okay, so that's the problem. Are you overweight and you're not feeling good about yourself? You just don't feel fit, okay? And you just don't feel like you want to go outside. Number 2, aggravate that problem. Well, guess what? Summer's just around the corner. Don't you want to look good in your swimsuit? And don't you really want to be feeling energetic for the kids to go out and play in the warm weather? Number 3, provide the solution. Go to jennycraig.com and but basically, I guess, register for our XYZ weight loss program, which is $99 a month or whatever it might be. That's the solution. And guess what? You can look like Miranda Kerr within 4 weeks. Number 4, provide proof, and that would be, you've seen the Spice Girl and I'm sure many others, coming on and giving you the before and the after picture. Normally the before picture, of course, is when they're overweight and not feeling too happy about themselves, and then the after picture is when they do look like Miranda Kerr. And if they don't look like Miranda Kerr, just show a photo of Miranda Kerr. I'm joking. Number 5, and that is a call to action. And that would be go to jennycraig.com. If it was a TV advertisement, it would be go to jennycraig.com. If it was a print advertisement, if it was a flyer or whatever it might be, you'd send them to the website, or you would give them a 1381 phone number or whatever it may be. Most of the time in this day and age, it would be sending them to the website. So ask yourself the question, when you're putting together, it doesn't matter whether it happens to be print advertisements like this, or whether it happens to be a radio advertisement, or whether it happens to be an online Facebook ad, whether it happens to be a banner ad online, whether it happens to be even advertisements within your website. Are you delivering, or whether it should be even your homepage of your website, is it giving them a problem? Is it aggravating the problem? Is it giving them a solution? Is it giving them proof? And does it have a strong call to action? Now, if you don't have that problem solution scenario in your business, you're not going to find that your conversions will be anywhere near what they should be. I can tell you. I've had clients across all sorts of different industries. I've been in this game for a little while. I'm not 25 anymore. And I can tell you time and time and time again that if you actually implement a problem solution scenario into your communications, you just watch what happens to your conversions. Just watch what happens to your sales. What I want to do too is just highlight to you in a print format, let's say one of these, the sorts of scenarios that you need. Okay, and I'm going to show you my overhead camera here. I've got all this wizardry with me these days. So if I actually get the overhead camera here and just show you, I've written down what your advertisement should be. So say, for example, let me put this one in front of it. This happens to be final 14 home sites now selling for a land development on the Gold Coast. And I'll just hold it up a little bit closer to the camera so you get a bit of a closer look for it, okay? I don't know what this thing is here. I think it's from outer space. I think it's an invasion from Martians. I don't know what the dickens that is. But anyway, final 14 home sites now selling. Is that a problem? Well, some might say, well, they're sort of giving a scarcity mentality to the blocks of land, and so therefore it might be a problem. I say that's a very poor, very mundane, very lukewarm way of doing it, okay? And again, I'm not sure what the space creature is all about. I just don't know. I don't think I want to live there if that was a statue that was overlooking my home all the time. If you had small children, there's a good chance they'd never sleep. I mean, that would just freak them out, I reckon. I just want to ring this mob up. Who are they? Let me see. Stockland, okay? I can see it there, Stockland. I want to ring them up and say, could you tell me what Godzilla is all about? I've got no idea why you've got that statue there. But anyway, they probably think they're creating some scarcity with final 14 home sites now selling. And what I'll do is that I'll just read out what the body copy is there so that you don't have to read it. Okay, an opportunity not to be missed. Set 160 metres above sea level. The final home sites are now selling at the observatory. These unique home sites with views over natural bushland and the Gold Coast skyline are all ideally close to major shopping, schools, public transport and beaches. Once sold, these home sites will never be replaced, blah, blah, blah. Land now selling from $415,000. Now, a couple of things here I just want to highlight to you. First of all, if I was to play with that headline, okay, and look, first of all, I think I'd have a better photograph. I think I would have an aerial drone shot of this, and I would be perhaps, let me just see if I can actually get my paper out here. I'll just put this here. So therefore, if I was to actually do this one, okay, now this is completely off the cuff, but I would probably be having close-ups of a couple of the houses, okay, let's just say we have a close-up. Then I'd have an aerial shot showing where some of these blocks are, and then I would superimpose pictures of the Gold Coast in there. So that's the skyline of the Gold Coast, and then my headline would probably be something, and I'm reckoning $415,000 for land is pretty good value these days, and if it isn't, then why would you bother putting the price there anyway? If it is good value, and I suspect it is, then that $415,000 should be up front and centre. I'm not selling to sell on price, but if it is a good price, then it should be there. And what I would probably say is something like last few home sites that overlook the Gold Coast skyline, okay, and then I would probably put $415,000 or from $415,000, and then what I would probably do is to say now, by the way, you might say, well, is that a problem and a solution? No, this is a benefit-driven headline, okay? These are the last few home sites that overlook the skyline, but then we'd go into the problem, that is very few land sites still available on the Gold Coast, okay? So therefore, we've actually flipped it a bit by having a benefit-driven headline and then highlighting the problem. Then we would aggravate that by saying, did you know that the Gold Coast, I'm not going to do all this copy now, of course, because you'll be bored, you know whatless, but it will say something to the effect of, do you realise that because of the dramatic increase in, people moving to the Gold Coast, there's only a very few home sites left that actually can provide you not only with the proximity to schools and public transport and things like that, shopping, but also the fact is that you can overlook the beautiful, skyline of the Gold Coast. And then, of course, what you would do is you'd probably, talk about some benefits here, okay, and then you would have Stockland down the bottom and obviously the phone number, call to action. So that's my version of and there would be no scary space monster, I don't think, in mine. I just don't think you probably need that. Now, let me show you what I believe you should have in any print advertisement in terms of, how you should map out the advertisement. Number one, a problem or benefit headline. Number two, and I'll just hold this up a little bit closer to the camera so you've got it, okay? Number two, your solution. Number three, your offer. Number four, credibility. Why deal with you? Are you the Gordon Ramsay, or are you the Steve Irwin of your particular industry? In other words, a bit of cred build there. And number five, call to action. Now, if it's in print, that could be online, but if it's in print, then of course you put your ID and your contact details there. Okie dokie. So therefore, what I would like to do now is highlight just a couple of other examples of this, so you get a good feel that it works across all sorts of industries. This here is a critique I want to provide you with from LJ Hooker. Yeah, real estate agents really amaze me. Most real estate agents will tell you that they're in the business of marketing real estate. They're marketing homes. And yet I've spoken at so many real estate conventions and asked, can you tell me what you do for a living? And they say, well, we market homes. And I go, okay, well, in that case, you obviously would have marketing qualifications. And every time I've asked anyone if they've got marketing qualifications, the 200 real estate agents in the room are looking at me with blank faces, because they don't. Hardly any real estate agent has ever done any marketing course at all. And yet, ironically, if you ask them what they're doing, they are saying that they're experts at marketing real estate. Crazy. Can you imagine your doctor operating on you if he doesn't have any qualifications in medical industry or surgery? I don't think you'd like your car mechanic working on your car if he didn't have a little certificate on the wall that says he was an expert car mechanic. And yet, you will give your home you'll give your home to a real estate agent who says to you, I will sell it for you, and yet he's got no marketing experience whatsoever. And I think this proves it, because if I can just bring my overhead camera on again, this is a leaflet that landed in my letterbox recently. They're selling an $850,000 14 quality acre property, and guess what? That's how good at marketing he or she is. They've decided to waste 50% of their collateral. That would be like running a TV commercial and having 15 seconds of it blank black screen with no audio. That's crazy. Now, guess what? If that cost 5 cents to print that leaflet, it would have cost 6 cents to print both sides. So basically no extra cost it would be to print both sides. And this is the clown who is telling you to trust him with promoting your property. Why would I? He's just wasted 50% of the opportunity to actually. So can you imagine all the other wonderful benefits, not features, but benefits that he could be putting on the backside of this? Just crazy. And speaking about real estate agents, let's just really, get into them even more. This is from, again, LJ Hooker, so I'm picking on the same person. They're giving away $1 million. So therefore, I'm not sure exactly how it is. They make it very, very hard to work out how the hell you actually win the $1 million, but I'm assuming it's if you actually list with them. Look at the bee's dick space that the $1 million prize gets. Okay, let me just see that there. That little circle there. Oopsie daisy, I'll bring it back. There you go. That little circle there is telling me that I've got the chance to win $1 million. And look at the real estate space it takes up on that entire A4 leaflet. Are these people crazy or what? They've got $1 million they're giving away. If I was giving $1 million away, I'll tell you what, you'd soon know about it. It would be all over the front of this brochure. And here, all they've done is that they've got a million reasons to pick up the phone. Well, isn't that cute? I mean, who wrote that? They should be slapped, okay? I mean, just tell it like it is. Don't try and be a journalist. Do you ever see the journalists where they just try and play with words to get a cute headline? I mean, I don't know why they do that, because it just brings their maturity level way down as far as I'm concerned. But it says here, LJ Hooker, let's read it. And by the way, the copy on that, these days I'm of a vintage that I need reading glasses, and I would imagine that, a lot of people who are going to spend, I don't know, 800, 900, 1,000, $1 million or plus might be over 40 and therefore might need glasses. Have a go. That copy, I'm telling you, I don't think it's even 4 point in size. I think it's smaller than 4 points. Just crazy. So I've got my specs on as I'm reading this, and it says, until November 30, owners who have a sales or rental market update with LJ Hooker Real Estate Specialist will have the chance of winning $1 million to spend on the purchase of a property, blah, blah, blah. One lucky person will win the chance to spin the $1 million wheel to win the $1 million, blah, blah. And on it goes, okay? It is put together in such a boring fashion that I don't think anyone would read this. When you flip the other side of it, they've got, I don't know why, but pet-friendly garden tips. I'm not sure why that would be important, but anyway, I don't know why. Let's just see if I can make hide nor hair out of it. Here are some tips to make. I better do this in Beryl's voice because I think it actually would highlight how stupid it is. Here are some tips to make your garden a pet-friendly environment. Wait for this. Allow a dog run between fences and garden plants with mulch or gravel service, so Fido can run up and down inspecting his territory to his heart's content. Next one, cat scratching posts will prevent trees and plants from being damaged. Next one, birds should only be kept in large cages so they can move around. I can't go any further. These people are on drugs, okay? This here is comfort and protection for your pet. And it goes, yeah. And then, is there an office in your home? Are our work habits changing the way we use our homes? And it goes on to say that 42% of people got an office in there. I don't know what that's all about. I think they're on drugs. I've got no idea what that whole leaflet was about. And if it was about actually getting appraisals, which I'm gathering the $1 million thing was all about, well, they've just lost big time. Absolutely lost big time. So look, I'll leave it at that. One more thing here. Where was it? There was one here. There's one last one, which is ridiculous. Harcourt's Coastal, selling your home. Let me just bring that close to the camera. You'll see selling your home, let me help. Why? There's a picture of him in a model pose there. I think he thinks that he's in a Vogue magazine. And then we flip over the back of it here. That's it. Just sold. And of course his logo there is in amongst the trees just to make sure you can't see it. That's very smart thinking. And they've got this house here at 27 Darwella Road, Maudsley, just sold. Big deal. Who cares? Did you sell it for over the reserve price? Did you sell it within 11 days? Did you do anything that makes me even think about getting hard nipples and giving you a call? The answer is no. I think he thinks he's on Vogue magazine. Okay, that is a nothing brochure, an absolute nothing brochure. So look, if you're going to be putting these brochures, putting a newspaper ad, putting any printed collateral together, then for goodness sake, make sure that you go through the process. And I'll just bring my camera back again just one more quick time. And this is separate from the problem solution scenario. This is what you need to make sure that you put in your advertisements, okay? Big W do not put their name up the top of the ad. They put it down the bottom of the ad. They have the problem or benefit headline up the top. That might be Coca-Cola at 95 cents. They then actually tell you why you should buy off them. The solution is you're going to be able to pack out your refrigerator over the summer months with this Coke at the right price. Then they give you the offer. Okay, if you buy 6, you'll get 1 for free. And then they have credibility. Big W are one of the country's best known discount store brands. And then number 4, call to action, come into Big W, and then they'll put their ID. So please make sure that you follow that sort of formula when you're putting together printed collateral or online collateral for your business. Gosh, I nearly forgot to tell you about my webinar. If you enjoyed this, then you might like to watch my webinar, which concentrates on showing you how to attract avalanche leads to your business. Now, that's either to your website or to your landing page or to your bricks and mortar business. I've been in the game of attracting leads for company owners for many, many years. And so I've put together a formula, and that formula I've called the Avalanche Leads Formula. And what I've done in this webinar, which goes for just over an hour, is that I provide you with that formula, that system, okay? So therefore you'll be able to just swipe it and use it in your business. So if you enjoyed what you saw here, then you might like to straight away go to wowmysales.com and you can watch the webinar straight away. It's not one of those where you give your details and then we annoy you with 1,000 emails over the next 24 hours. You can watch it straight away. So therefore, when you go to wowmysales.com, you can just watch that webinar immediately on demand, no waiting, and you can scoop up more of this stuff that you can use in your business. Now, why am I doing this? Because I figured that if I actually provide these free pieces of advice to you, then when you need help in the future to attract clients to your business, you might like to knock on our door and we can give you a hand. It's called sampling. That's what this is all about. So hopefully you will enjoy it. And at some time when you do need some help, well, you know where we are. So if you'd like to go right now, you can watch it straight away to wowmysales.com. It'll have a particular emphasis on online marketing and a particular emphasis showing you how to master Facebook ads. I show you a formula which I've called the 2-step sell formula, and it has worked over and over and over again for many of my clients. So if you're interested in making your Facebook ads work, then you might like to get there straight away and have a look at this. It's at wowmysales.com. It's a free webinar and you can watch it straight away.